Hi, Tim. So we're here to do your post-observation interview. First off, I want to tell you that I think you do a wonderful job. I think you have done a great job as a teacher this year. We've probably done more projects than we've done in the past. You took control of the shed project, done a great job with that. You're doing the tiny house, taking on a lot of new stuff. You do a lot to help us around the school, so we appreciate all that. And I really appreciate you being a mentor teacher for the new carpentry teacher. So we're gonna go.
So I'm more than happy to do.
And we're gonna go over each one of the standards on the observation. So let me get the right paper here. Just a second. Wait, we'll just go with it. So, start with 1A, knowledge of content. I know that you worked in the maintenance field for many years, and I know that you know your content. You're a master electrician, master HVAC, and so it shows up in your classroom. You tell that you know your content. The students know that's a big important part, is they can tell you that you know your content. So I scored you accomplished there. 1B, demonstrating knowledge students. I know that you take an interest in your kids, their life outside of school. You ask them about their home life, and that you understand the knowledge that they have and their ability, so you adjust things to their ability. So you did an excellent job there. I got you accomplished there.
Thank you.
Setting instructional outcomes. I think your classes, you have rigorous learning. They understand what you expect. They know what it takes to do good in your class, and you do a good job with that. So I got you accomplished there. Demonstrate knowledge of resources. You use textbook, you use NCCER, you do Skills USA, you're active Skills USA advisor, but you also create some of your own tests, especially your safety tests and your test over your tools. So you do a great job of using a lot of resources. You use stuff from the internet, guest speakers, so you do a great job there. I got you accomplished there. Then design and coherent instruction. You do a great job of using all your resources and aligning your instruction with the NCCER and with state standards. So I got you accomplished that. I think you do a great job with all of those, Tim.
Thank you.
1F, design and student assessment. You all already have your NCCER testing, but you also have a lot of safety tests, and I know that you do a good job of meeting state standards. You do a great job of getting your kids industry certified. So I got you accomplished there. Now, next is 2 and 3. Both of them stuff that I'm looking for what I've seen in the classroom today. So we'll start with 2A, creating an environment of respect and rapport. You do a great job of the students treat you with respect, you treat them with respect. You greet them by their name, you talk to them in the hallway. So there's a great learning culture in your classroom. So I got you exemplary there. I think you do a really good job with that. 2B, establishing a culture of learning. You reinforce all your lessons with real work. Everything's linked to real work applications. You went over and you talked to you did a good job of telling the importance of safety. You got the lesson today was over ladder safety. You did a good job of explaining to them why that was important.
Because we're working in this building, constantly doing something, so
yeah.
They're always on ladders, and they have to understand the safety and importance of it.
Yeah, you've done a good job this year too. I don't believe we've had any injury reports from your class, so that's good. And so you've really pushed safety, and that's good. So I got you accomplished there. Managing classroom procedures. It's evident that you have routines and that students understand them routines. Today during the lesson, we had a couple students I witnessed that after they got done with their part, you know, you observed them doing their part, they kind of went over behind where you was at, and they were sitting on the tiny house. They wasn't paying good attention, but they were outside of your view. You couldn't see them. And then we had one boy that was on his phone a few times, but you had 17 students in there, and 14 of them was actively engaged the whole time. So I think you did a good job with that, but I think the only thing I could see that you could do different, I wrote up that you could have worked with the ones, maybe like put them, the ones that are watching behind the ladders while you're on the other side of the ladders. That way they're always in your view, so that they can't be away from you and be doing something they're not supposed to.
So just reposition myself to see everybody else in my view.
Yes, and if you need to, you know, if you see somebody that they're talking or not doing what they're supposed to, you know, that's a good time to call on them, ask them a question, make them explain something, maybe make them re-demonstrate something that kind of brings them back into the lesson. But it lets them know too that you notice they wasn't actively engaged. Let's see, that was classroom management. So I gave you a development on that. That's something we can always get better on.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Managing student behavior. There wasn't no major misbehavior today, but I did see Aaron Cook. He was on his phone twice, but he was outside your line of sight. And so again, if you had him positioned so that you could see all the class at the same time, that way, if you've seen that, you could call him down for it. And we look for, if you have to call, we expect you're going to have to say something to some students, but if you do it just in a respectful, but be stern but be respectful, that's a good way to handle that. But I went ahead and put you at developing on that from just what I've seen today. And like I said, every time we observe you, it's going to be different, so just because that's developing today don't mean it might be exemplary next time. So just something to work on. Physical space, your classroom and lab is set up safe. All students can see and hear things. You got your walking paths are clear. I think it's arranged to support your learning goals and your learning activities. Your shop's always clean. Never see anything unsafe. So I think you do a good job with classroom space. You use a lot of technology, a lot of new tools. So there's a lot of stuff available for students to help them learn. You're one of my few shop teachers that actually they get to use their Chromebooks and stuff, and you use a lot more Google Classroom than some of them. So you do a good job with technology. So I actually had you down for exemplary on that. All right, so now we're starting section 3, communicating with students. You reinforced your lecture by, explaining how stuff's done in the real world and why safety is important and how they can get in trouble on job sites if they're not safety or they can get injured. You did a good job with that, and so I gave you exemplary on that. Questioning techniques. I noticed you asked a lot of questions, and you done a good job of formative assessment by asking questions, but there was a lot of times when you just asked questions, you didn't call on an individual. So maybe from now on, work on calling on individuals, spreading the questions around, not just letting everybody answer at the same time. Also work on not just like one word answers or yes or no answers, make them explain some things. And if they don't give you the explanation, you won't be, if they just try to give you a short answer, maybe ask them why it works that way. Ask them to demonstrate stuff. or do some problem solving, explain to you why one way is better than other. If that's safety, you know, make them explain why one way of using the ladder is the correct way and why the other way's not, you know, what's gonna happen if you do it the wrong way. Make them explain it. You know, you might wanna plan out your questions. You can plan them ahead of time. It helps the lesson to go the way you want it to be ready for different situations. So I've got some paper here for you on question techniques that I got in my college class. I want to explain some things to you. You might be able to pick some things up from it, but you get scaffolding your questions, you know, ask some low-level questions, and then when they answer them, ask them to explain it more, ask them why. If they don't do a good job, just keep asking them why. Eventually they'll have to give you more of an explanation.
More detailed explanation.
The more detailed they have to be, the more they have to think about their answer, the better. And waiting time, you know, a lot of times I see teachers that will ask a student a question, and if they don't answer it in a second or two, they'll go ahead and pick on somebody else or answer it for them. Give them a few seconds, give them some time to figure it out.
So ask more individuals questions than as a group.
Yep.
I was asking more of a group.
Yeah, you was asking the group, and what tends to happen there, sometimes you get the same kids answer every time.
Yeah. I have noticed that.
If you're deliberate, you know, if you have kids that are quiet, don't usually speak up, you know, deliberately ask them some questions, get them involved. It helps with engagement too. If you see some nodding off or not paying attention, it's a good way to call them out, you know, ask them a question. Let's see. 3C, engagement. Again, 14 out of the 17 kids was actively engaged. They were into the lesson. They were doing a good job. The other ones had been engaged when they were doing their part, but then after they did their part, they kind of wanted to go off and do their own thing. So just work on that. I gave you a development on that. Just work on trying to get everybody involved. Now let's go on to 3D, using assessment and instruction. You were asking questions, so that's formative assessment, but you was also showing them the right way, demonstrating for them. You was watching what they was doing, calling them out on what they was doing, so you was doing a good job of formative assessment, and I've seen you use that when y'all been working out here in the school, working on stuff too, so you do a good job there. I gave you accomplished on that. Flexibility and responsiveness. I think you do a great job of working with our special needs students. You do a great job of working with kids with IEPs and adjusting your lesson to them. So I think you do a great job there. So I gave you accomplished there. And reflecting on teaching, just always go back, look at your lesson plans, think about things you could do different. You know, maybe change things, you know, things that didn't go well, think of what you can do to work on. We all have lessons that we think is gonna be a great idea, and then the kids just ain't into it, or it doesn't work out. You know, so don't feel bad about it. Sometimes you might have to scrap it completely, throw it away and start over.
Realize it ain't working, and you gotta do something different.
Yeah, do something different, just don't use it the next year. Or like I said, modify it, and sometimes it just takes a little tweak here or there, and makes the lesson go better. And sometimes we can't figure that out until we've taught.
I know sometimes things don't work the way you want it to.
Exactly. Let's see. 4B, maintaining accurate records. I know we all use Google Classroom and Infinite Campus, but now I really like how you keep the charts on your walls of the task, the NCCER task, and you check mark when kids use that. I like it because the kids can see it, see where they're at. Also, you know, it gives them something to aim for, an achievement to reach. So I like the way you do that. So I gave you exemplary on that. Communicating with families, I think that's something we can all work on. You know, we do open house, we do student of the month, we do advisory committee meetings, but you know, I'm working on right now trying to get more parents to come to advisory committee meetings, but I also think that we need to be doing calling home, not just when there's a problem, but also to brag on kids, tell them what their kids are working on. You've done a good job sending me stuff to put on social media. So, we've been able to better use our social media this year, I believe, so.
I agree. I've seen actual parents commenting on there and
It's a good way,
seeing what their kids are doing, so.
it's a good way to get parents involved and see, show off what kind of projects we're working on, so. I gave you an exemplary there. Growing, developing professionally, you always do summer conference, you're doing the regional teachers meeting. I know you have to do professional development for your master's electrician and your HVAC license. And I know you're still taking college courses, so I give you an exemplary there. And showing professionalism, I think, Ken, you do a great job. You do everything with high standards and integrity. You actively go out of your way to help students. You go out of your way to help the school. You do a lot of things around here that's above and beyond working on the school, getting your students involved working on the school. You've helped other teachers. You're on some of my decision-making teams, and you've done a great job this year as being a mentor. You've being a mentor for Jonathan. You've helped him with site. I think a big part of why he's transitioned into this job was because of you, and I want to thank you for it. And if you look at all your stuff, most of it was accomplished, but you had several exemplary and only a few developing. So I think you're right in that accomplished range right now, and maybe even towards the high accomplished, working on exemplary. So just keep working on areas that you can improve on and continue to grow. And I think you're doing a great job, T.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for all that you do. And here's the paper on questions and techniques, and so you can take that home.